This lesson continues the coverage of Server Manager with a focus on management of pre-Windows Server 2012 operating systems and also managing from Windows 8 clients. As I previously mentioned, remote management is enabled by default on Windows Server 2012. And it is important to note this is different from remote desktop access. Remote desktop access via the RDP protocol is not enabled by default on Windows Server 2012. So if you wish to RDP to a box, you would still need to enable that capability. What is enabled is the management through Server Manager of a remote operating system. To enable management of Windows Server 2008 and Windows Server 2008 R2 installations, it's necessary to download and install the Windows Management Framework 3.0. This framework is available from Microsoft as a free download, and it's available both for Windows 2008, which is Windows 6.0, in both 64-bit and 32-bit versions, and also for Windows Server 2008 R2, which is 64-bit only, and this is for Windows 7. Once this is installed, it will actually enable a number of new features on the Windows Server 2008 and 2008 R2 platforms, noticeably Windows PowerShell 3.0, enhancements to WMI, improvements to remote management, and importantly, the Server Manager SIM provider. This is what allows Windows 2012 Server Manager to manage those Windows 2008 and 2008 R2 boxes. There is a dependency on the .NET Framework 4.0. This must be installed prior to installing the WMF3. If you try and install WMF3 without .NET Framework 4.0 installed, you won't get any meaningful error, but it won't install correctly. So you must install .NET Framework 4 first. Once that's installed on your 2008 and 2008 R2 boxes, and you enable remote management, you'll now be able to manage them in exactly the same fashion as you can manage 2012 servers. In my example here, you can see I have a 2008 R2 box, and I can manage it as if it was any other server. The one caveat is I cannot remotely add and remove programs to a Windows Server 2008 or 2008 R2 box. Notice that server is not available in this list of remote boxes. I can only remotely add and remove roles and features to a Windows Server 2012 operating system. You'll notice throughout this demonstration, I'm running Server Manager, but I'm actually running it on a Windows 8 client. If you remember, our goal is all Windows Server 2012 installations should be running Server Core. This means they have no local management tools and they have no graphical interface. Our desire is to do all of the management remotely. So this would be from a Windows 8 client. For that Windows 8 client, I will download the Remote Server Administration Tools for Windows 8. I would install this package on my Windows 8 machine, and both 32-bit and 64-bit versions are available. And once that's installed, I'll be able to enable the Windows Server 2012 administration programs. Notice I not only get Server Manager, but I get all of the other server administration tools available to me. And this is how you will manage Windows Server 2012, Server Core locally on the server or virtual machine, and managing from my Windows 8 desktops. This is not available for Windows 7 or any other prior desktop operating system. If you are not able to run Windows 8 in your environment, one solution would be to stand up a Windows Server 2012 remote desktop session host, install Server Manager and the various other 2012 administration tools, and then publish those applications through remote desktop services to your Windows 7 or prior desktop operating systems. Obviously, the preferred option would be to run Windows 8 and run these tools locally. But as you can see, I'm not losing any functionality. I still get the same dashboard views, I can see all of the servers, and we're going to dive more into Server Manager in future lessons. This concludes our lesson on Server Manager and remote management.